Hello everyone. Today I have Wing Commander A K Srinivas. He has more than 35 years of rich experience in aviation, education, health, and e-governance domain. He is also a PhD from Hyderabad University. He introduced telemedicine in rural area of Andhra Pradesh and was awarded World Computer Honor Laureate Award in US. He was also a consultant with World Bank, facilitated e-governance training to more than 3,000 government officials across India. And he has executed large-scale e-governance project and facilitated a lot of many projects with various government departments. Thanks a lot, Srinivasan, for joining us.
Thank you, Kalpesh.
So to start with, I would like to know your journey. How has been your journey?
Okay, so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so the journey so far, okay, I'll start from my journey with the Indian Air Force. So I was about 21 years when I joined Indian Air Force as a commissioned officer. And that journey in the Indian Air Force was very good, exhilarating, and it was enriching too. Okay, so uh, while everything was very good with the Indian Air Force, and I was doing extremely well also there, I decided to come out of the Air Force because somehow I felt that I should know a lot more than what I was doing in the last 20 years. So about a period of 5 years, from 2000 to 2005, I kept on thinking within myself as to, is it a good move to get out of the service, which is a very comfortable service for me, and go into civilian life and taste the uncertainties there. But then I had some, faith or confidence in me that I can do much better for myself, even if I'm wherever I am. Okay, so I was very lucky to have come out of the Indian Air Force as a premature, on a premature retirement. And when I entered the civilian life, I was already 42 years, close to 42 years, right? Because 21 years I joined, 20 years I worked with the Indian Air Force. And by about 41, I came out. And I didn't know what is awaiting me in the civilian side, because my experience with the Air Force is zero to the civilian corporations and things like that. And my education, though I had a lot of credentials in education, but then again, that was pretty old. My MBA was pretty old. Today, in 2005, when I came out of the Air Force, people look at IIMs and all. Such brands are very established brands, and they would like to take people from there. And why should a person take a 41 or 42-year-old guy into the corporate sector? So, because I would definitely have some baggage, because I had my two children, though they were very young. And it's better that they take a better person. So I was just contemplating for 2 months. I came out in October 2005. It's almost 15 years now. And November, December, I was just thinking, where should I put my foot in the civilian, domain? So I don't know many things. So what should I do? So while this thinking going on, I started applying for few jobs, of course. So luckily, I was picked up by a medical college as a CEO, which is very close to Hyderabad. That medical college. I'm from Hyderabad, so it's very close. It's about 3 hours drive from my home. It's in Karimnagar.
Okay.
So the chairman had a lot of trust and belief that I can do wonders in this medical college as the CEO. Whereas I hate to go into a hospital, because every year when we do the medicals in the Air Force, they check a lot of things. And anytime if they say that, no, this is there, so we are putting your medical category down, that means you will not get your promotions, you will not get a lot of things, you cannot advance. So we used to be so scared about our health and keep ourselves in fit shape. Yeah. So the very smell of a hospital used to scare us. Now I'm here as a CEO, sitting there in a hospital and a college. Okay, yeah. That hospital is associated with the college. You need to have a hospital also whenever you medical college. So this is a huge college with a 150 intake. So they have to have minimum 750 bedded hospital. So
Okay.
they had about 1,000 at the time when I joined, and that gave me a new way of actually looking at things in the civil side. Okay. So initially, I had a lot of challenges working in the civil side. The first assignment being medical, that was a scary thing. And secondly, everybody is a doctor except me,
Okay.
right? So they have the art of saving a lot of people from death and other things. So they're like gods. And I'm only a human being. And I'm sitting on the top of them as a CEO.
Yeah.
Why will a god listen to a human being? So nobody used to, even say good morning to me initially. Nobody used to bother about me and my whatever I give instructions also. It took some time for me to understand their side, and then I did a small presentation about small talk, and then with that the things have changed. They understood me, and then things have improved a lot. And I did that for 2 years, and moved on because while I was heading that, I got an opportunity from India's at that time the third most multinational IT company, Indian company, erstwhile Satyam Computers, basically. So they wanted me to join them, so I joined, and I was asked to move to Bairaju Foundation, which is a CSR arm for rural transformation. So I just started understanding that thing, and I understood that the company which had this rural transformation CSR arm has 200 clinics in Andhra Pradesh. That was
Oh,
erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, all
okay.
districts, okay, many districts. So this 200 clinics is a huge number.
Yeah.
And when I started asking how many doctors are there, doctors are one for 6 villages.
Oh,
And that too for a brief period of time only they come and
okay.
then they attend. Whereas we had nurses, they're all either a GNM or a ANM placed at these things. We had some medicines also. We have a nice clinic also with all the equipment. So then I started doing a project. How can I bring technology? Because I joined a technology firm, right?
Yeah.
So how do I bring technology to these rural areas and make sure that this bridge, whatever this gap which is there, is bridged between patient and the doctor?
Yes.
So I created that telemedicine platform. It's basically a video chat platform. But then back then in 2008, the internet backbone was not very strong in the villages.
Yeah.
It was hardly anything. So
Hmm.
all that I could do was to ride on a 2G mobile network.
Oh,
So that was again a Herculean task. There are lots of challenges because the moment you start off your video call, it gets pixelated. You may
yes.
hear the voice, but you can't see the doctor,
Yeah.
right? So such things were there. So then we discussed with the service providers and we got a good bandwidth and things like that. Then we
Okay.
did it in 25 villages as a pilot to
Okay.
start.
Okay.
So that is how I moved on in life. And there are no regrets coming to the civil life. And in
Okay.
fact, I learned so many things which I did not learn in the Air Force. And then I made my life very, very comfortable. Then I started my own company. Then I started doing lots of e-governance activity across the country because I realized bringing technology into governance as a technology-led reform or an administrative-led reform would benefit a lot of people. Okay, it's a win-win situation for the government bureaucrats as well as the politicians, and it's also good money for me, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so I started giving advisory. Then I started managing. I started managing the projects, programs, large scale state-wide led programs. Then I started teaching these concepts to the bureaucrats as well as to the various central government and state government officials across India. In fact, these days I teach to SARC nation bureaucrats also, not on e-governance per se, but then on leadership, change management and things like that.
Okay.
So things have moved in a very, very smooth way. That's how the journey has begun, and that's where we are today, doing that kind of activity all through.
Great. Awesome. Awesome. This is really good.
Thank
So
you.
I have been very impressed with your e-governance, the influence, because I have seen the impact that e-governance can cause to a society or common man.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to understand because e-governance is not like many people are not aware about what are the stages in e-governance.
Okay. Okay. There's nothing like stages. This concept of e-governance is very, very simple to understand. If you can, put little bit of logic into it. See, what is it that we are trying to do is there is already a governance which is existing, right? All the government departments, they are governing their departments very well, and we see
Yes.
the fruits of what they do.
Yes.
So why not we bring in technology instead of manual way of working?
Yes.
Bring in technology so that it can, transform the departments. It will help citizens. It will help everybody because everything could be quick, transparent, right?
Yeah.
And it will create a wow effect to the citizens.
Yes.
So when this concepts have developed in the early 90s, and I joined doing this activity from 2009 onwards, 8, 9 onwards. So by then there were small islands of projects which the Indian government or the state governments have tried. Some bureaucrats with their intelligence, with their strengths have done that, and it was successful. It was a very good project, and people were happy also in places like Kerala, Karnataka, and all that. So once this concept has become broad based, like we understood what all we can do, the consultant, using the technology for the benefit of the governments and the citizens,
Yes.
then the boom started,
Yeah.
right? Right. Everybody wants to invest money into technology and bring in technology into governance. But then the basic understanding has to be there because
Yes.
nobody knows upfront what is going to happen if I do a technology-based project. Because a collector will say, if I have to do if I have to do a technology project, bringing technology, and all my services will be rolled out through computers, how will it be by the end of execution, maybe 2 years later, when the project gets executed, how will it look like? What is it going to happen? And that kind of a gap was existing. They were not very sure to invest so much of money for something which they are not sure what is going to happen 2 years later. They are just believing the consultants and then trying to do things. So we explained things to them, and my way of explaining to most of the bureaucrats and to the politicians is through mind maps. It's easy. It is very clear. I draw all those maps, small, round, circles, squares, triangles, and connect them and make them understand how things move. And that happened to be a very good way of, facilitating some concepts to the people, and slowly that evolved. So today, if you say stages for, for the e-governance, I would predominantly say everybody should understand the functioning of government first. Okay, so how the government functions, and then second thing that I would like to say is you need to think big. What is it that you can offer to the department so that it's a win-win situation for these people,
Yes.
for citizens also.
Yeah.
And third thing that is very important is to have patience. Dealing with government requires a lot of patience. Maybe you have to make 10 rounds to make them understand the concept. So that means you need to have a clear understanding about what you're going to present to these people, to the departments, the big picture, and you should be able to articulate well to those people so that they understand it very clearly. Once they understand, things will move very clear. I mean, very fast. That is good out. So if you ask stages is just that you need to understand these things much better. If you understand these things, then there is no stoppage. You can just go ahead and be a consultant and then do a lot of good work. Today tremendously we require people to get into this kind of an industry. It is still a sunrise industry. We do not have many people who are doing this because everybody says, yeah, God dealing with government paisa nahi deta. Second thing is they don't allow us in one go. We cannot do anything. It has to be iterations. Every time we have to go. Lots of things, Every time they try to do a project, then it scales up because of various other things which gets involved into that, and The scope is, it's called a scope creep. There would be always scope creep. All these are fine, correct, but there are ways to handle these things. That over a period of time one can understand. If I could jump into this kind of a domain at the age of 42, 44, imagine youngsters jumping in at the age of 26, 25, and what all can they do to the country,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this is what is basically one should know.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
So also wanted to understand the scope of e-governance in India. In the sense, I have seen and we have seen e-governance being implemented in various departments and various facilities. So vis-a-vis other countries, where are we in terms of e-governance?
Okay. So let me tell you one thing. E-governance in India started in 90s, late 90s, basically with small islands here and there. The projects, when I'm saying islands, means these are, in isolation, people have used their state money and intelligence, and they created a project of e-governance. So over a period of time, in 2006, there was a program called NEGP, National E-Governance Plan. So this plan was approved in the month of May in 2006 and released. So when it released, then they said that there would be 27 mission mode projects. That means they have identified 27, the central government has identified 27 projects which, the states and center can do together. So these projects over a period of time have moved, and now there are about 44 projects which were called mission mode projects, and some of them got completed, some of them are still in the process of getting completed, some are still in the design stage also. So the scope is very huge and large, and with 2005, with 2015, the entire National E-Governance Plan got converted into Digital India program,
Okay.
where there is a lot of money that was put into by the present government, and they wanted technology to be entering into every department of the country and every ministry of the country, so that it becomes seamless way of interacting with everyone, with all the stakeholders. Right. So if you ask me today where we are as per the e-governance index, we are at 96th position. There are about 190 countries which are doing e-governance. We were about 145 and all earlier. Now we moved to 96th position, and our endeavor is to come in first 50. Okay, less than. So for which, of course, there's a lot of effort is required from everybody to get into that 50. And people are trying. Every department, everybody is trying to make sure that things work in this kind of a domain, and then we reach less than 50. So this is how the e-governance has spread. Today we have thousands of projects that were done by various state governments and central governments, and the fruits we are seeing today, right? What all has happened, and if you look at here itself in Hyderabad, one simple thing, Me Seva, E-Seva, which is there, which is now called Me Seva. Earlier, it started with some 30 odd services that to only business to business, a few, and then B2C, business to citizen, a few. But today there are 300 plus services, which include even central government services. So just go to the Me Seva counter and get your thing done in 15 minutes of time. So like that, the things are evolved over a period of time. And we are in a very good, I should say, in a very good race to come in the first 50.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, how do you see young entrepreneurs, startups taking this opportunity and coming up with new solutions, or working with people like you? I see a huge opportunity in this space.
Yeah, absolutely, Kalpesh. There are, see, startups are really welcome in this. Okay, because see, every department requires a lot of work to be done,
Yeah.
right? So And most of the time, what is happening is we go to through the tender route for any of these things. Like
Yeah.
if I want to, let's say I'm the secretary of a department, I want to do some kind of a e-governance project, then I have to perforce go through tenders, right? So when we go through tenders, then there are certain very harsh qualification requirements for people to qualify to attend, I mean, apply for that tender. So now today, what is happening is because of the startup environment that is really growing in the country, lots of things have changed. Earlier, it was only the big companies which used to come and do projects like TCS and things like that. They're doing even
Yeah.
still today. But then today, there are a lot of other small companies also coming up and helping the government departments do very good projects
Yeah.
because their latency, their time to provide things are very fast because that's a startup. They are all gung-ho about doing a lot of good things in life
Yeah.
and they want credibility. They want to also come into limelight. So they are really working hard, hand in glove with the departments wherever the startups have entered, and there is a good amount of leverage the government has given to them as to in kind of the various SOPs, that whether it is a taxation, whether it is what kind of a projects, to what extent they can take, and how they can work with them. So government using these startups have actually multiplied their hands.
Okay.
If the secretary has got only 2 hands, now he has got about 10 hands because there are 5 guys with him.
Yeah.
He can roll out things much faster. He can, discuss with these people. And these are all young people, most of them.
Yeah.
So they understand this. They don't mind sitting long hours with the government officials in understanding what they want and converting it into, translating it into, the software. Then that software does the wonders. So this startup environment that got created in the country is really helping a lot of departments. Only issue is they cannot take huge projects naturally because they do not have that kind of qualification requirements to apply for such tenders, right?
Yeah.
So they're eligible for small things. They can be in some places there is a consortium which is permitted, so they can be part of the consortiums and then do the projects. So there is a lot of meat available in the country today, and it's only that how best you articulate, explain to the departments, and then take a small portion of it and finish it.
Yeah.
That's what is because there is no dearth of money in the government. Forget about the COVID time. These times are difficult times. Otherwise, till the COVID, before the COVID started, governments had a lot of money. Every department had enough money to do this kind of activity. Maybe if, let's say, for example, a municipal corporation, urban local body, in a place like where I'm staying in the high-tech city area, if they have to roll out, there may be 50 services they do every day. So the money that is required to completely do, convert all these 50 services into technology-driven way of doing things might require a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they may do in an agile way. They can do 10 services this year, maybe after 2 years or 1.5 years, another 10 services. As and when the budgets are increasing, you can keep doing in that fashion also. Nobody stops. Today we have a framework called Agile India where you can do, pick up little bit and keep doing it. These are all much better interactions the government is trying to do with various, the startup environment and various other environments, even to the consultants. Earlier, only the big four used to be the consultants. Today, lots of consultants, even like me, we are getting our share of, advisory and things like that. So it's not so difficult.
Yeah.
And this is still, I call it a sunrise industry.
Yeah. Great. One more thing I would want to know is what impact do you see on like common man, SME sectors, or other entrepreneurs through e-governance?
Okay, so if you want to know the impact, we have come a long way. Okay, so let's say, for example, railway reservations. Okay, we do it at the comfort of our homes. We sit and then pick up the ticket and travel.
Yeah.
Look at the passports, right? The passports, you get it within a week's time. The moment
Yeah.
you apply, within a week you're getting. Earlier it used to take 60 days, anywhere
Yeah.
between 45 days to 60 days. So all these are the examples of e-governance where the impact, if you look at it in terms of whatever metrics that we define, whether it is a business metrics, operational metrics, or efficiency metrics, uh, people who have done the projects, the departments which have done, the ministries that have done these projects have really benefited from these metrics.
Yeah.
Like today, I really appreciate the passport thing. Even if I have to renew it, is the second day. I remember I went for my renewal. I applied everything, gave it. I came back. I got a SMS in the evening saying that your passport is under process. And next day they said your passport is dispatched. That means the third day I'm getting my renewed passport at my home.
Mm.
Right? So these then if such thing happens, won't you be delighted? You will be very happy with the government what it is doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so, so the impact, if you see in various phases of our life also, right, from paying property taxes or electricity, water, all these small things have been taken care of, right?
Right.
So we have portals where we can do, including even the gas cylinders, you name it, a lot of things have changed from
Yes.
what it was earlier to now.
Yeah.
And then there are a lot of other things also need to be done. These are all small things to make the citizen happy with their daily needs and daily way of things. But then a lot of policy changes also that are required to be done, and for which there are, now there people are thinking about changing the old policies into a different way or convert them or create a new policy because the environments have changed from what we were and now what we are today. So SMSC, MSMEs and all these organizations are being provided a platform,
Mm.
being provided loans also to start things. So they to manufacture, to join the government, do some projects with the government, whatever is available to them. I mean, they can do it. They can help the government. So this
Yes.
is happening. So the impact is, as of now, let's say, if I say key from what it was to now, I really say 40% impact it has created, and another 60% is to be done. And this 60% can be done if everybody joins hands together and start thinking about what policies that we want as a citizen,
Right.
instead of leaving it to the government to decide what citizens want, right? So
Yeah.
if we can create that e-governance, uh, what I should say, the Nara that
Mm.
what we want you please give it to us,
Yeah.
then perhaps things will work very fast and we should be in a much better position as the days roll on.
Okay. Great. Great. So, in the end, just an advice from your side to young people who are watching us, uh,
Okay.
uh, in terms of career, e-governance, whatever you feel like.
Yeah, sure. See, there are lots of institutions these days, even including the IIMs, have started giving, the certificate courses and diploma courses in e-governance.
Yeah.
I was part of one such certificate and diploma course, which was being done from IIM Indore. Now they have
Yeah.
stopped it. Some other IIMs have picked it up. So
Okay.
these courses are available across. And I suggest that all the youngsters who are interested in, you know, changes in the country should pick it up. And then see, the employability is not a question here because everybody who does these e-governance courses who have an understanding about a little bit about government functioning, there is no dearth of jobs, whether it is consulting firms, whether it is the government's taking on contract, or like Nixie takes a lot of people on contract and then
Okay.
they provide jobs in various departments. There is one NISG which is recruiting
Mm.
organization for e-governance professional. That way, there's a lot of work
Mm.
which needs to be done. But only thing is, we do not have hands. We
Yeah.
do not have people who really understand this domain. So I suggest that all the youngsters should look into this post-engineering, all the engineering graduates. Those who are going for abroad for studies, that's a different story altogether. Those who are working with a very meager amount should actually take little time to think and then take these courses and then move ahead with much better salaries in 2 years' time. And this is a wonderful time basically for the youngsters to join the e-governance. And people like us, we look forward to a lot of people, including the, see, here the question of only a technical graduate doesn't arise. So anybody with BCom, BSc, even MBA can join this domain because we require different varieties of people to do these activities. And then, and this is not a rocket science also, it's quite a simple thing to understand and quite easy to understand also if you put in your brains a little bit, and if you have a good logical brain, it becomes much easier for you.
Yeah.
Right? So I suggest a lot of youngsters, please join us. Okay, make this as a very big industry, and we want people. We are not getting sufficient numbers, and every time we are looking at people who are retired to join the organizations because we feel they understand the government and they can help us out. But that should not be the story, right? So we want the young blood to come into this, and I appreciate with this kind of a small interview that I'm doing with you, Kalpesh, and that if you can bring in more number of people, it would be a human service that you are doing basically.
Yeah.
Reach to the people. And I really appreciate your efforts, Kalpesh, for inviting me and for this interview, for a talk. And would love to be associated with you for a long time.
Thanks. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.